This is LuxeMind Tactics, where the wealth mindset meets luxury living.
You can choose a life of ease and comfort, or you can choose a life of service and adventure. Which one of those, when you're 90 years old, are you going to be more proud of?
Achieving your potential is the quest of the ordinary. Conquering the impossible is your destiny.
If you want to be successful, I would encourage you to grow a tolerance for failure.
This time, I was not disappointed in myself for failing to be the person they thought I should be. Their dreams and my dreams were different. I would never confuse the two of them again.
These people had one thing in common. They knew they had it in themselves. They knew they could be something beyond where they were. They were willing to put their time, their energies to better themselves.
Today, I want to share what I've learned about our generation and the world we're all building together. I remember that night I launched Facebook from that little dorm in Kirkland House. I went to Noakes with my friend KX, and I remember telling him clearly that I was excited to help connect the Harvard community, but one day someone would connect the whole world. The thing is, it never even occurred to me that that someone might be us. We were just college kids. We didn't know anything about that. There were all these great big technology companies with all these resources, and I just assumed one of them would do it. But this idea was so clear to us that all people want to connect. So we just kept working on it, day after day after day. And I know that a lot of you are going to have your own stories just like this. A change in the world that seems so clear that you are sure someone else is going to do it. But they're not. You will. I'm here to tell you that finding your purpose isn't enough. Purpose is that feeling that you are a part of something bigger than yourself, that you are needed, and that you have something better ahead to work for. Purpose is what creates true happiness. Let me tell you a secret. No one does when they begin. Ideas don't come out fully formed. They only become clear as you work on them. You just have to get started. If I had to know everything about connecting people before I got started, I never would have built Facebook. Movies and pop culture just get this all wrong. The idea of a single eureka moment is a dangerous lie. It makes us feel inadequate because we feel like we haven't had ours yet. And it prevents people with seeds of good ideas from ever getting started in the first place.
When I was young, I didn't really know what I was going to do when I got older. People kept asking me, but then eventually I thought that the idea of inventing things would be really cool. The reason I thought that was because I read a quote from Arthur C. Clarke, which said that a sufficiently advanced technology is indistinguishable from magic, and that's really true. If you go back, say 300 years, the things that we take for granted today would be you'd be burned at the stake for. Being able to fly, that's crazy. Being able to see over long distances, being able to communicate, having effectively with the internet a group mind of sorts. And having access to all the world's information instantly from almost anywhere on the earth. This is stuff that really would be magic, or would be considered magic in times past. In fact, I think it actually goes beyond that, because there are many things that we take for granted today that weren't even imagined in times past. They weren't even in the realm of magic. So it actually goes beyond that.
No matter how good we are, we can still be better. You can always be better. Customers have a divine discontent, and they teach you if you listen to customers. So we watch for that, and we see patterns, and we can find places where it's not working, something's going wrong, and that's really how I get the feedback, is from customer input. And often, in all caps, angry, you ruined my child's birthday because the gift didn't show up on time. And we take that. And what you really want to do is you take that, it's an anecdote, it's a single example, but you need to find the root cause. What went wrong deep inside the system? How did this happen? Because then you can fix it for everyone so that that particular problem will never happen again. You don't just fix the symptom, you have to fix the root cause. And that's been the secret to our operational success for 20 years. There are a lot of things that are a waste of time. You know, when you think about your life, I think I often tell people that I work with, if you can get, because people have very high standards for how they want their work life to be. And I said, look, if you can get your work life to be where you enjoy half of it, that is amazing. Because very few people ever achieve that. Because the truth is, everything comes with overhead. That's reality. Everything comes with pieces that you don't like. You could be a Supreme Court justice, and there's still going to be pieces of your job you don't like. You can be a university professor, and still going to be, you have to go to committee meetings, and you have to do every job comes with pieces you don't like. And we need to say, that's part of it. And not resent those pieces, or try not to, but also try to minimize them.
The first lesson is courage. And I have seen it in a whole lot of you. Nobody has ever achieved anything big in business or in any walk of life without courage. Of course, whenever you do anything big, you do feel a little scared. But you've got to conquer fear to discover the hidden hero within you. With courage, with self-belief, and the can-do spirit, you overcome any adversity. साहस एक ऐसी ताकत है जिससे डर को भी डर लगता है. The second lesson I have learned is feel empathy. Empathy means caring and sharing with every human being in our organization and the world at large. The more we care, the higher we grow as human beings. I understand empathy as dil ki daulat. It is the wealth of your heart. The more you spend it on others, the more wealthy you become. The third lesson I have learned is to have absolute faith in technology and talent. In every business we have started, we have always embraced the latest technology and have attracted the best talent. When top technology and talent work together, they produce unbeatable creativity, innovation, and invention.
At the core of our company's success is innovation. Now, a lot of companies say innovation is important to their company. Invention is important to their company. However, I don't believe you can fundamentally say that innovation, that you want as a CEO to nurture the spirit of innovation, to encourage innovation, unless you have a culture of risk-taking. We have to encourage our engineers, all of our employees, to take calculated risks. In order to encourage them to take calculated risks, first of all, you have to teach them how to do that. That's a skill, a matter of skill. Then the second part of it is a matter of courage. Most people hate to fail. Do you guys agree with that? Unless you guys want to be successful, let me say it the positive way. If you want to be successful, I would encourage you to grow a tolerance for failure. To develop a tolerance for failure. Now, when I mean a tolerance for failure, I don't mean, gee, what Jensen just told me is sleep in until noon, okay? Don't do any of my homework, flunk out of all my classes because that defines failure, right? That's not what I said. What I said is, what I'm trying to say is that I want you to try things even though it is impossible to calculate precisely that it would lead to success. That your instincts, your intuition is something you ought to follow. If it wasn't because of following my own instincts or the founder's instincts or many of our employees' instincts, why would we be where we are today? And why would we have invented things that the market's never had before, the world's never had before? So you have to have this culture or tolerance for risk-taking.
I put together a plan to start my own company. That way I could completely control my work environment. My goal was to create the perfect job for me, a job I truly loved. Hired the most talented software engineers in Silicon Valley. We assembled an all-star team of gifted programmers who were among the best in the world at what they did. That team, plus one crazy idea,